And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Wednesday, July 24th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Here we are on a Wednesday morning, and we welcome Bob McDonald to talk about Cedarstone Bank. Bob is President and Chief Executive Officer. And, of course, it's Cedarstone Bank of Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Donaldson. Simple banking, simply better. Bob, good morning to you.
Good morning, Coleman. My friend, thank you for having us this Wednesday, and thank you for letting me dial in. I appreciate when you accommodate me like this.
Well, you and I do just fine over the telephone, I think. We've been doing it this way for maybe about half the time for quite some time. And, of course, you've been one of our advertisers for a long, long time, just about ever since the bank began. And it's Wednesday, it's Cedarstone Bank, and time for me to wear green.
And I appreciate that. I know you're wearing green. I know Billy's got his Cedarstone T-shirt on, and so I appreciate you wearing the team colors at least on Wednesday.
Well, what's happening?
Yeah, y'all been with us from the very beginning, Coleman. You will remember when we opened the bank in 2004. Y'all did a live remote there at our temporary offices, and we've been with you here since, I think, 2007, 2008. So being with you each Wednesday is very important to us, Coleman. We appreciate your letting us be a part of your program.
Well, we're certainly glad to have you. What is going on right now?
Well, before we get into banking, I want to talk once again about this really great event coming up this Saturday, July 27th, from 12 until 8. It's called the Signature Palooza. And it's that's being sponsored by the Jewelers, which is, as you know, is Sean Smith. Also by Coco and Lou. That's Lindsay Smith and Cobell. And then also Beauty Boutique. It's going to be an afternoon of just great fun. It's going to be music. There's going to be vendors, food vendors, and of course shopping there at all those terrific businesses. And I think it's around 4 o'clock, a really great local band will be playing, the C-Dot Boys. That's led by Jason Miller, a terrific guy. So Susan and I look forward to being there for some of that great fun. Just want to remind your listeners who don't know about it to be sure and come out. It's a great event. It was Sean's idea. The idea is to just bring people to businesses down on the west side of town, so it's just a great idea. And I know this event is sponsored by Zaxby's, who they're also just a great supporter of the area. So anyway, I hope your listeners will come out and support these great businesses.
All right. And what else you got for us?
Well, let's just talk a little bit about banking. You and I were talking off the air about what do we expect here in the coming months, and as we approach the second half of the year, and as we're into the third quarter of the year. It's hard to believe when I say that, but we're still very busy, Coleman. Our lending is active in every way. We're loaning money for every possible reason. People are buying homes. They're renovating their homes. Businesses are buying equipment. People are buying vehicles. We're talking about interest rates. We'll probably see a break in the interest rates at some point this year, probably in that September area when the Fed will have one of its meetings. So I know there's a lot of hope. I know when the Fed chairman mentioned the good chances of there being a rate drop last week, we saw the stock market have a great couple of days. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed. I think we're getting close to where we can have a rate cut and not worry about inflation re-emerging.
Well, here again, as you have mentioned many times, probably we've got it a little bit better than maybe some other parts of the country. We're such a growing area, and I think we have a vibrant economy here. So people are not scared to borrow money, and that's good for you.
Well, it is good. It's just glad to see that the confidence is remaining for consumers, people like you and me, and for businesses. And you're right. We're fortunate in Middle Tennessee. We're oftentimes find ourselves insulated from more areas of the country that might be experiencing economic challenges. So we have this diversified economy, which can be very helpful to us.
One other thing you have that we would be remiss if we didn't mention really every time, and that's that free checking account.
Yes, sir. We have it, Coleman. We've had it since 2004, and it is free in every way. If your folks who are listening to us, if they want to do their banking the old-fashioned way, as we say, if they still want to write checks, and we can do that. We offer free checks. If they want to do their banking electronically, we have all those features as well. You can do your banking online by the telephone. You can make your deposits with your mobile phone. So you can do your banking with us in every possible way, and we encourage your listeners who don't bank with us now to come by and visit with us and let us talk to them about banking with Cedar Stone.
Right, and if nothing else, get a cup of coffee at the Cedar Stone Cafe.
That's right. That's right, Coleman.
Bob, thanks so much. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Thanks, my friend. Have a great day.
All right. Bob McDonald, he's president and CEO, Cedar Stone Bank, Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Donaldson. Simple banking, simply better. All right. It's 10 minutes after the hour, and I am going to the telephone now, and I want to introduce my guest for the first half this morning, and it is Congressman Andy Ogles, District 5 Congress, who is running for re-election. And, Congressman, good morning to you.
Good morning, and how are you?
I'm doing well. Well, hope that you got time to catch your breath here. I know you're busy campaigning, and we appreciate having a little time to have you share your views with us this morning.
Absolutely. You know, it's a busy time here in D.C. We've got Prime Minister of Israel coming to talk about, you know, a relationship with special relationship the United States has with Israel, and obviously dropped articles of impeachment on Kamala Harris to hold her accountable for the mess at the southern border.
Well, I know you want to talk about some of those this morning, but we might start out just really a quick introduction. You can help me out a little bit here, but I believe you were the county mayor from Murray County and then ran for Congress, and you've had this seat for 2 years and are running for re-election. So anything about your personal life or family life or background you'd like to share with us?
Well, you know, I did have the opportunity to serve as county executive for Murray County for one term before I ran for Congress. And, you know, I guess really where a lot of people know me from is during that time as county executive and during COVID, I refused to shut anything down. You know, as county executives, we had a lot of authority. And if you want to wear a mask, you wear a mask. That's up to you. If you want the shot, get the shot. If you have a business owner wants to keep their business open, they had a right to do so. And I think the rest is kind of history as to why I won this seat for Congress is because people know me as a fighter. If I say I'm going to come up here and fight, that's what I will do, and that's what I've done.
All right. Well, what about the articles of impeachment against Vice President Harris?
Well, you know, it's important, you know, really from two perspectives. You know, there's got to be some accountability on this southern border. She was named the border czar. She hasn't done her job. You know, we've got fentanyl killing our kids. It's crime is up in the cities. We're seeing across the country 12, 13, 14-year-old girls systematically being raped by illegal immigrants. We can stop this, but we've got to fight back. We've got to protect our kids. We've got to protect our girls from these illegals that, quite frankly, they come here and they bring values that aren't American. They don't necessarily integrate into our culture. And so this is our country. We get to decide who comes in. We also get to decide who leaves. And so we've got to hold Kamala Harris accountable for her failings at the southern border. But then politically speaking, we're going into November. I do believe the republic is at stake, and we've got to win the White House. Donald Trump has to be the next president. And so we've got to define her before the corporate woke media reinvents her. Because you already see it under the way. You know, like they're going to repackage her as some fighter for the middle class. And she's radical. She's completely and totally radical. You can look at what she did in the Senate, and she completely, you know, her policies would obliterate the middle class, hardworking Americans, quite frankly, the 5th District. And so we've got to push back. We've got to fight back. We've got to hold the line, and we've got to stand with Donald Trump. And the way to do that is take the fight to them. You know, when they tried to kill President Trump and they were taking him off the stage, he paused for a moment. and he raised his hand and he made a fist, and he sent a message to the world: I'm a fighter, and I'm going to keep fighting. And that's exactly what I'm doing with these impeachment articles, is to hold Kamala Harris accountable for her failure and to fight for this country.
All right. And about there's another resolution I think we talked briefly about here, the Trump attempted assassination resolution that you introduced.
Yeah, we've got to, so there's a lot to unpack there, right? With the Secret Service, obviously the director stepped down, the failings of the Secret Service. We've got to condemn not only the attempted assassination, but all the rhetoric from the progressive Democrats that led up to it. So that, they're talking about violence. They're trying to turn Donald Trump into a villain. And so, they're setting the stage for people wanting to act out and lash out physically. If I were to say some of the things that the left said, and they would be all over me. But because I'll just stop there. But they can get away with it. I can't. But there's a direct correlation to their hate speech, their calls for violence, their calls for tyranny against Donald Trump that led to that boy being warped and manipulated and trying to kill the former president.
All right.
So we've got to stand up and say, look, you have the right to free speech, but you don't have a right to incite violence. And
all right.
So with that, again, and I'll say this about the attempted assassination of Donald Trump and the failings of the Secret Service. That makes Joe Biden less safe. That makes Kamala Harris or Obama less safe, because the world sees, the bad guys see, that the Secret Service isn't perfect.
All right, we're talking with Congressman Andy Ogles, who's running for re-election. We've got to take a break right here. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Absolute Kubota. Write it off the lot. Write it off your taxes. Visit Absolute Kubota. Take advantage of the U35 excavator. Yep. And they're located at 1506 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It has increased with more volume. 65 southbound coming down through Millersville right now, out of Robertson County into Sumner County, coming up from Brentwood, Franklin on 65 northbound. It still looks pretty good through Williamson County, but it is loading up pretty good now on 24 through the Antioch area. All that traffic flowing in from Murfreesboro, coming in from Rutherford County. Whether you need a new roof repair, or roof inspection, independent roofing specialists, these guys have got you covered. Check out irsroofs.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Simply banking, simply better. Since 2004, that's been our motto at Cedarstone Bank. I'm Bob McDonald. We know that financial decisions can sometimes be complicated, but that doesn't mean solutions have to be. Whether you're buying a new home, renovating your existing home, or buying a car, or maybe you're a business that needs to purchase equipment for the building you operate from, we have all the technology that will allow you to do your banking online or on the telephone, or you can come in one of our beautiful branches and see our great people. With locations in Lebanon, Mount Juliet, and Nashville. Cedarstone Bank. Simple banking, simply better.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Why are left-wing unions and establishment rhinos backing Courtney Johnston over Trump-endorsed Andy Ogles? Johnston gave $9 million to a pro-abortion DEI group that attacks the police and endorses more government welfare handouts. Johnston honored a pro-Hamas organization and subsidized lawyers for illegal aliens. But it gets even worse. Johnston demanded Republicans pass new gun control laws, including a national gun owner registry and red flag gun confiscation. Democrats know they can't beat Andy Ogles in November, so they're lining up behind Courtney Johnston, because Johnston will do as she's told and vote for more spending, more debt, and more wokeness, not Andy Ogles. Re-elect Congressman Andy Ogles, your 100% A+ rated Trump-endorsed conservative champion, defending our values, fighting for us. House Freedom Action paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its contents, not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee. HouseFreedomAction.com.
On July 27th, the Jewelers Beauty Boutique in Cocoa and Lou will present to you Signature Palooza, a one-day event featuring jewelry deals, home decor specials, hair sparkles, tiny tattoos, food trucks, and so much more. We will end the night with an amazing concert by Lebanon's very own CDOC Boys, brought to you in part by Cedarstone Bank, Zaxby's of Lebanon, Fleming Homes, Novus Mortgage, and Lindsay B. Smith Properties. Follow our social media pages for all the up-to-date information on this can't-miss event at 105 Signature Place.
Are you facing a challenging time that you need help navigating? Well, look no further than your local law firm of Kane and Crowell. At the offices of Kane and Crowell, our team of experienced attorneys is here to guide you through every step of the process. With a proven track record of success and a commitment to our clients and our community, look no further than the team at Kane and Crowell to fight for your rights and provide representation you deserve. 615-784-4800.
And thanks for joining us. We continue here on this Wednesday. Congressman Andy Ogles is on the phone this morning, running for re-election for District 5. Now, I know there's one other thing you wanted to talk about, and we'll get to that right here if we can, and that is Mr. Netanyahu's appearance before the joint session of Congress. What about that?
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously security is really tight up here. They're looking at, maybe 10,000 protesters. But I think, what you'll hear from the Prime Minister is to talk about the special relationship that the United States and Israel have, talk about kind of an update on the ongoing, attempts to defeat Hamas to bring home the hostages, and then also the care that Israel's taken to mitigate and reduce civilian casualties. I have the honor of serving as the chairman of the Counterterrorism Caucus, so I get to see and hear things that others don't. But Israel is our eyes and ears on the ground in the Middle East. They are a very strategic partner for us, and quite frankly, the world. We find out a lot of information about terrorist activities, not only in the Middle East, but abroad, here even in the continental U.S., because of the network and the work that Israel does on counterterrorism. So it's incredibly important. And, of course, the attack on October 7th, regardless of what you or anyone might feel about the relationship between the U.S. and Israel, that was a terrorist attack. An ally was attacked, and we have to stand with them and stand firm. And so to have the vice president, the vice president is not going to be here. So traditionally, the speaker and the vice president would be over the joint session of Congress, and she's not going to be here, which is really rebuffing Israel. And that's dangerous. I think it sends a wrong message to our allies in Europe that it's okay for them to push back against Netanyahu. But when you look at Hamas and the three waves that came in on that day, that fateful day on October 7th, the first wave was your soldiers, a lot of them in uniforms, fatigue types. But the second and third wave were civilians, and the atrocities, many of the atrocities were committed not by soldiers, but by civilians. We had a Russian American that escaped captivity, Israeli-Russian escaped captivity and hid and moved around for 2 or 3 days, and that individual was captured, not by soldiers, but by civilians, Hamas, Palestinian civilians, was tortured by those civilians and then turned back over to Hamas by those civilians. And so there's this entanglement and this incestuous relationship that the Palestinians have with Hamas, and you can't separate the two. And so it's important for Israel to go in there, go into Rafah, and go into these other areas, and quite frankly, wipe out the enemy, wipe out terrorists that wish us harm, by the way. So that's the other thing, is that not only are they protecting themselves, their own homeland, but they're protecting the United States through extension. So I'm looking forward to hearing the Prime Minister, and again, it's an honor to serve as the chairman of the Counterterrorism Caucus, but we've got to stand firm. We've got to fight against terrorism, and that's why Donald Trump winning the White House is so important, because we were safer under Donald Trump. You didn't have this Russia-Ukraine conflict. You didn't have the issues in Haiti. You didn't have the issues in Niger with Africa. You didn't have the issues with China and Taiwan under Donald Trump. But we do today because Biden's weak. The world knows Biden is weak. So I stand with Donald Trump. I'm endorsed by Donald Trump, and I'm proud to be. And I'll do my part. We're going to win this election here in just a few days. We need people to go out and vote, obviously. But then I'm going to work to get the president reelected because our republic is at stake.
All right. Well, again, this is the Republican primary. Early voting goes through this Saturday on Election Day, next Thursday, August 1st. Now, let me ask this: most of the things we've talked about have been national, international issues. How much time? I'm wondering, is more of your time spent on these sort of things than than some of the issues maybe within the congressional district. Yeah, I guess in some ways it's kind of a juggling act. You've got you're concerned about our nation's security and its involvement in world issues, but you do have the folks back home. How much time do you spend on each?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We spend a lot of time on district work and working with constituents. In fact, it's a new congressional district. A lot of people that now comprise the new 5th District didn't know or don't know who their congressman is. And so we've worked really hard to communicate, to figure out and reach out directly to veterans and say, hey, if you need help with your VA benefits, you can call the office and we'll walk you through that process. Reach out to seniors and make sure that they have access and not having problems with Social Security or disability. So there's really this proactive process that I've undertaken, my team's undertaken, to reach out to the people in the 5th. And so up here in D.C., they have trainings for the staff to say, this is how you reach out to your constituents. Here's are some best practices. And some of the examples they use are actually from my office, from the 5th District, how we had to build this communication cycle or process that didn't exist before. Because you got to remember, historically the 5th has been the Nashville District. It was held by Democrats since the Civil War. And so we had to build an apparatus to reach into Lewis, Murray, Marshall County, to reach into Lebanon and all these other places. And so we worked really hard. We've been very proactive. So we have the main office there in Columbia, and then we have a rotating office that goes around the district. So people aren't having to drive down to Columbia, that we're in your community and you can reach out to us. And of course, I have the privilege of coming home on the weekends and getting out. The best part of being serving in Congress isn't being in D.C. Rather, it is actually being back home in the district to see how how my team can help our community. Because look, Southern Middle Tennessee is the engine of economic growth in Tennessee. So it's important that we have the right representation, and why I fight so hard for our district. And look, the future of the republic is at stake, and it's important that you and your voters go out there, or your listeners go out there and be heard, because Donald Trump has to win. And otherwise, what you're going to see with Kamala Harris is this gutting of the middle class. There's a lot at stake in this, and it's certainly an honor to serve. And living on the south side of Murray County, I have the privilege of enjoying the beauty of Tennessee, being a Tennessee native. Love our district, and I'm proud to serve it.
All right. Well, we did have your opponent on Monday, and she suggested that you're spending your time in Washington, neglecting your district here, and trying to make a name for yourself with all the bills that you've been introducing and this sort of thing. Just wondered any response on that.
Well, that's nonsense. People. So I'm going to be criticized for working hard while I'm here. That's absurd, right? My opponent can't run on policy. My opponent supported Transgender Day. My opponent gave money to illegal immigrants, taxpayer money to illegal immigrants to hire attorneys so that they can stay in this country. My opponent is woke and liberal. But that being said, my family is back home in Tennessee. Our little farm is back home in Tennessee. And the moment that I can get home to Tennessee, to be in the district, to be with my family, and quite frankly, to do farm chores, that's what I do. And so, it's an honor to serve. But my home and my feet are firmly grounded and planted in the 5th Congressional District. And anyone who says otherwise is lying.
All right, we're going to come to a close here, and I usually do this with all the political candidates that I interview, give them a minute and a half or so to kind of wrap things up, to summarize, and that's what I want you to do now, if you will. Just take a minute and a half and summarize your candidacy, why you should be reelected and continue to serve as 5th District Congressman.
Well, thank you, and for all you do. Hometown radio is important because it's the people's voice. And for me, I come from humble roots. Didn't come from a rich family. I worked my way through college. It took forever to graduate, but I finally did. I really kind of get to live the American dream of coming from humble beginnings to serve in Congress. But I made a promise that I was going to come up here I was going to work hard and I was going to fight. And that's exactly what I've done. And so if you want somebody that's working hard and has been true to their word, then I'm going to ask for your vote. And if for some reason you choose not to, then God bless you. But I've kept my promise. When I was county executive, I fought for my community. I never backed down. And as a member of Congress, I'm fighting for my community, and I'm not going to back down. And so I'm proud to serve, to be in this role. This is the people's seat. And John Quincy Adams loved the House of Representatives. He was a member of the House, the Senate. He was a president, but he retired back to the House of Representatives, because that's where you debated, that's where you argued, and that's where you did the people's work. And I'm proud to get to do the people's work. And quite frankly, I'm going to continue to debate and continue to argue and to fight for the 5th Congressional District.
All right. Well, we thank you for being with us this morning, Congressman. And again, a reminder that early voting continues through this Saturday and then Election Day next Thursday, August 1st. Thanks again for being with us today. All right, that is part one of Coleman and Company, and we've got more. Hope you'll keep it right here, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Absolute Kubota. Ride it off the lot, ride it off your taxes. Visit Absolute Kubota. Take advantage of the Section 179 tax deduction when you buy new Kubota construction equipment, tractors, RTVs, hay tools, or turf products. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. The police still trying to clean up an accident. Harding Place at Trousdale Drive there in South Nashville as it builds with more volume. But it's been in pretty good shape so far. 24 westbound up through the Antioch area coming in from Murfreesboro, Rutherford County. I see that heavy traffic developing on 65 north there through Spring Hill out of Murray County into that southern portion of Williamson County. Nash Painting, a non-franchise painting company. Mention this ad, get a 10% discount. Call Nash Painting, 912-2288. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is in a new location, 1746 West Main in Lebanon, across from Sports Village. Gregory Dental Group offers cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs.
No insurance? No problem. Call about the discount plan. Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322.
There's a lot of differences between Trump-endorsed Congressman Andy Ogles and Swamp-endorsed Nashville Rhino Courtney Johnston. Ogles is only in his first term, but the D.C. cartel's already put a target on Andy Ogles because Andy Ogles dared fight the debt sellout funding abortion, DEI, and open borders. Courtney Johnston's not like Ogles. Johnston honored a pro-Hamas group, voted to give $9 million Nashville tax dollars to a woke left-wing pro-abortion, pro-equity group, and millions more to another funding lawyers for illegal aliens. Andy Ogles says America's borders are more important than Ukraine's and sides with Israel, not Hamas. Courtney Johnston is a woke union-backed rhino conservatives can't trust. Re-elect Congressman Andy Ogles, your Trump-endorsed 100% A-plus conservative champion for the people on our side. House Freedom Action paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its contents. Not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee. HouseFreedomAction.com.
Showers and storms look likely again today with highs in the lower 80s. Tonight looks partly cloudy, chance of storms, lows in the upper 60s. There are more showers and thunderstorms around the area on Thursday. Highs remain in the middle 80s. This weather forecast brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. With your Severe View forecast, I'm Storm Specialist Drew Richards.
We continue here on this Wednesday morning, and we welcome now our friend John Langford of Edward D. Jones to talk about what he always talks about, how you can do better with your money. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Coleman. And after the first guest that you had, I'm just going to say that I'm very looking forward to hearing Eddie and the day of prayer for the schools. And let me tell you, my undergrad's in political science. I interned at the House of Representatives in 2003 and worked on House Education Committee. And that was whenever we passed the House Education Scholarship Bill. And then my first job out of college, I was a bill clerk for the House of Representatives in 2005 for Finance, Ways, and Means. And along the way, I will tell you right now, I serve on the Lebanon City Planning Commission, and last night we had a fairly controversial thing that came up, and I think half of the Horn Springs community was at the meeting last night. It was standing room only, and the will of the people was served. And for anybody that does serve in that capacity, I want to thank them for their service, and at the same time, they could all use some prayers, and I think we can all agree on that. Today, I want to talk about employee education programs, and we do employee education programs throughout businesses and factories and different things all over Middle Tennessee. And one of the things that we do is we talk about employer benefits and what we can do with Edward Jones, how we can assist in managing their fiduciary responsibilities on their 401k programs, how we can complete their employer benefits package, because a lot of smaller businesses can't necessarily afford a 401k, but they could do a simple IRA, and also help those employers with additional tax benefits to save them from having to pay in more than they need to. We can also increase participation in company-sponsored retirement plans. That is one thing that a lot of people don't realize with the 401ks is you have ERISA testing inside of there. And if you have a 401k program, but there's not a lot of participation inside of there, then it can actually reduce how much the employer can put in themselves along the way, and hopefully help them to keep the good employees that they have while also recruiting those employees that they need.
Do you do a lot of this, want to do a lot of this with employers and setting up these different plans?
Yes. So I will tell you, that's how I built my business. Where I started, I don't know about you, but I wasn't really good at just going and knocking on somebody's door and saying, "Hey, have you met John Langford? Today's your lucky day." But working in businesses, after I left the Capitol, I managed a diabetic shoe company, and I was all over the southeastern United States. So walking into a business, I did that 10 to 15 times a day in nursing homes and assisted living. So it was easy for me to walk into a business and help those individuals along the way. My MBA is in finance. I'm also a certified financial planner, and being able to help those individuals and business owners to not only increase their profitability, but also to decrease how much, because there are significant tax benefits to offering an employer-sponsored retirement plan of some sort.
And I've just imagined there's so many employers out there who are not too skilled in these areas, who need some information that you're able to share and give them.
Well, it's very similar to, they're really good at running their business. They know how to run that lawn care business, how to run that mechanic shop, but they can't tell you too much about the tax code or about ERISA retirement plan code inside of there. Well, vice versa. I can do a lot of things, but I like to focus on what I can do well. I'm a really good financial advisor, but you don't need me to go and paint your house or to fill that cavity either.
Right. Okay. Well. What's the best way? Just to give you a call if you'll make an appointment? That's the way it works?
So the best way is call the office, 615-443-2090, or you can come by and see us at 1424 West Bedore Parkway, Suite C. As I like to say, it's a health park there. I'm surrounded by doctors, and I'm the only non-doctor, so they can take care of the health, and I'll take care of the wealth.
Now, you've got to remember that one. They'll take care of the health. You'll take care of the wealth.
Yes, sir.
You hadn't used that one before. I like that. Well, have a great week. We'll do it again next Wednesday. All right.
Thank you, Coleman, and always good to see you, Eddie.
John D. Langford, financial advisor with Edward D. Jones. And again, the location is 1424 West Bedore Parkway, Suite C. And you can call him at 615-443-2090. Well, we're about 22 before the hour, and Ed Callis is here today. And Ed has been doing this. He's pretty much Eddie to me, but either way works. And Edward Callis, good morning to you.
Good morning, Coleman.
You and I have known each other for more years than we want to talk about this morning, but I can't let you come out here and be on the program without mentioning that football team that you were a big part of that went undefeated in the regular season and played the game in the Tobacco Bowl, what's that year, 61?
1961, that's right.
Well, good morning and welcome again.
Thank you, Coleman.
We lost a member of that team recently, Bobby Bird. I thought Bobby Bird was kind of the spark plug of that team, and he meant so much to it.
He was a good member of that team. A really good team, and you and I are probably the only two of only half a dozen people that still remember anything about the football team of 1961.
I remember the circumstances leading up to it, and that wasn't good because the team had been losing for 3 years.
Yes, I tell people, and again, this is just Eddie talking, I tell people that I played on the worst team that Lebanon High School ever had, which was my sophomore year, when we won one game against Donaldson 6-0. We scored one other touchdown that year, and that my buddy Henry Harding was tied for leading scorer on that 1959 team with 6 points. So, and then I say that we played on the best team that Lebanon High has ever had, and I will still contend that to be the case. We went 10-0. No team in the history of Lebanon High School ever went 10-0. Now, we did lose that Tobacco Bowl game, and we were embarrassed about that. But they were a good team. Sparta was a good team.
They really were. Well, a lot of memories from long ago, but you're here, of course, for a different purpose. You have been a part of the Kiwanis Club of Lebanon ever since somebody invited you to come, and I think I know who it was, but I'm not sure. Anyway, you are Mr. Kiwanis, I think, now that George Harding is no longer with us.
Well, I've been a member of the Kiwanis Club of Lebanon since 1974. Tommy Bryan invited me to come into the club, and I've been there ever since and enjoyed it. I still go every week. And I love it.
Well, you came up with this idea, and you've told this story, I guess, just about every year that we've had you here, and I think we hadn't missed many since you started this, and that is what this is all about. But the day of prayer for our school. So let's rehearse this program, this scenario again.
Okay, Coleman, thank you very much. Yes, most of the people I hope out there listening can remember what happened in April of 1999 out in Littleton, Colorado, when there was a very terrible incident out there where a large number of students and others were killed. And I remember a few days after that happened, riding down West Main Street here in Lebanon, thinking about those people. And I couldn't imagine how awful that was for them to have lost their children. And it occurred to me, wouldn't it be great if this Sunday everybody in America stopped and prayed and asked God to keep our children safe? Well, of course, that Sunday came and nothing happened. But as summer came along, I began to talk to my Kiwanis Club members, and we came up with the idea of sponsoring a day of prayer for our schools. And what we did was we contacted every church in the county that we could contact, and we still do that. And we asked them on the Sunday before a new school year begins, which will be this Sunday for this year, but on the Sunday before the new school year, please devote a moment of time in your service to recognizing that school is starting, and pray and ask God, keep our schools safe, keep our children safe, as they begin a new school year. And we've been doing that ever since. We might have, I can't say that we didn't miss a year during COVID, but this is the 25th year that we've been doing this, and we're still doing it. We're still communicating with the churches throughout the community and asking the people in the community to, on this Sunday, the Sunday before the new school year starts next week, stop and pause and give prayer to God and ask Him to keep our children safe as they begin the new school year.
Well, I think one other thing that has come along with this has been some resolutions by local governments to, I guess, endorsing it, encouraging it, and that's got to be a thing of satisfaction for you.
Well, it certainly is, and I think each year that we've asked them, and we try to remember to ask them, the city council in Lebanon, the county commission in Wilson County, and even the city council in Mount Juliet, because there's a Kiwanis Club over there that sponsors this in the Mount Juliet area. And they're very, very generous to us and present us with a resolution declaring this Sunday, July the 28th, to be a day of prayer for our schools day in Wilson County. We appreciate that very much.
Well, we haven't had any terrible incidents, and we can all be thankful for that, and believe that God is honoring this and listening and granting our request.
Well, that's true, and yes, we are thankful for that. But it has happened other places, and of course, just last year it happened over in Nashville at the Covenant School, and again, my goodness, how can you imagine what the pain that those families experienced at that time and continue to experience as they go by. One of the things I'm going to be doing this year, I'm going to be presenting this idea to the entire Kentucky, Tennessee Kiwanis District, which will be all the Kiwanis clubs in Kentucky and all the Kiwanis clubs in Tennessee that are east of the Tennessee River. And I'm going to be asking them or suggesting to them that in their communities, they picked up this idea and in whatever way they want to do it. But let's expand this out beyond Wilson County and, again, hope that our children can go to school safely.
Yeah, well, I don't have any reason to think that they won't pick up on this, but certainly wish you well in your endeavor.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, time for us to take a break. Ed Callis is with us here on Coleman and Company FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford and the Works Vehicle Checkup. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. It's $59.95 up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal, tire rotation, and safety check. 1780 Franklin Road. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Steady flow of traffic continues down 65 through Millersville, coming out of Robertson County into Sumner County. It has increased out here in the Mount Juliet areas, and traffic finally starts to pick up and build into Hermitage there on 40 going westbound, passing Central Pike. It still looks good through Brentwood, Franklin on 65, making your way northbound up out of Williamson County. Nash Painting, a non-franchise painting company, mentioned this ad. You get a 10% discount. I've done business with these guys for years. They are the best. Call Nash Painting 912-2288. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
What does it mean to be rich? Maybe it's less about reaching a magic number and more about discovering the magic in life. I'm John Langford, your local Edward Jones financial advisor in Lebanon, Tennessee. Count on me for financial strategies that can help support a life you love, because the key to being rich is knowing what counts. Contact me today at 615-443-2090 and let's find your rich. Edward Jones, member SPIC.
Why are left-wing unions and establishment rhinos backing Courtney Johnston over Trump-endorsed Andy Ogles? Johnston gave $9 million to a pro-abortion DEI group that attacks the police and endorses more government welfare handouts. Johnston honored a pro-Hamas organization and subsidized lawyers for illegal aliens. But it gets even worse. Johnston demanded Republicans pass new gun control laws, including a national gun owner registry and red flag gun confiscation. Democrats know they can't beat Andy Ogles in November, so they're lining up behind Courtney Johnston, because Johnston will do as she's told and vote for more spending, more debt, and more wokeness, not Andy Ogles. Re-elect Congressman Andy Ogles, your 100% A+ rated Trump-endorsed conservative champion, defending our values, fighting for us. House Freedom Action paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its contents, not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee. HouseFreedomAction.com.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
Hello, Wilson County. I am Derek Hammond, and I want to be your next assessor of property. Just like you, I'm a concerned citizen and property owner. I've spent the last 28 years of my career preparing for this opportunity. I am the only candidate who holds the Tennessee Master Assessor's certification offered by the State Board of Equalization. On Election Day, vote Derek Hammond for experience and expertise.
Paid for by candidate.
We continue here on this Wednesday morning. Thanks for joining us. A couple of reminders here. One, clean out your closets. Lend a helping hand to the Lebanon Senior Citizen Center. They are going to have a yard sale Saturday, July 27th, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. They need your support, so consider donating your gently used household items, clothing, furniture, kitchenware, toys, and more. Every contribution counts, and your generosity benefits the center. You can drop off your donations at 670 Colds Ferry Pike. And remember, they can't accept books at this time. But you can join them in making this event a success and giving back, and they would like to have that by today, if possible, tomorrow at the latest, I guess. But they'll still take it Friday as they prepare for it. And one other thing I'll mention here, the Wilson County Black History Committee is hosting the 26th anniversary. The guest speaker is Dr. Charles Edward McAdoo. They'll be celebrating the Lebanon Clowns Negro League baseball team and honoring Ms. Frankie Price with the Chris Price Athletic Award. This event is going to be this Sunday, July 28th at 3 p.m. at Pickett Rucker United Methodist Church, 633 Glover Street in Lebanon. And this information given to me by Mary Harris. Ed Callis is my guest. I know you know Mary Harris.
Very well.
Had Mary and
Wonderful
her husband
people.
out here. He was one of the Lebanon Clowns, but she did most of the talking. I couldn't get him to talk. They were both really great athletes. I think she was a tremendous softball player, if my memory's right.
Well,
but
I just know them from my years of working with Harry at First Federal Savings and Loan Association.
Right.
And since, and great people, both of them.
Well, there's many things we can talk about, and we won't forget the Day of Prayer for our schools. That's you're here, presented and sponsored by the Kiwanis Club of Lebanon. We've talked about that quite a bit. I want to know a little bit about some things. One thing I want to know about you. You got on your T-shirt this morning. What's that say? 14,000 mile man. You're a 14,000 mile man. What's that all about?
Well, in 1998, we at First United Methodist Church, we built a Family Life Center, which includes a gymnasium with a walking track around it. We wanted at that time, to open the gym early in the day so that people could come exercise before they went to work. But we didn't have any staff to do that with, so I volunteered that I would come at 6 o'clock in the morning every weekday morning, 5 days a week, and open the gym. And at that time, I started walking around the track. And I've been doing that ever since. And early this month, I passed the 14,000 mile mark. And my wife has been very kind, and every time I pass 1,000 miles, she gets me another shirt. So okay. I have this 14,000 mile man shirt that I'm sporting today. But I tell my cardiologist, Dr. Woods, my last visit, we were talking about my walking, and I said, Doctor, I'm pretty convinced that if I had not started walking back then, I wouldn't be here today. Yeah. And he agreed with me. Yeah. And so I continue to walk. I don't know. I say to people that 14,000 miles is more than halfway around the earth.
Sure is.
And and I need to get back. but I'm afraid I don't have enough at age 80. Yeah. I don't think I have enough time to get back around the earth. But I'm going to do my best.
Well, you keep going. Who knows if you can get? It's supposedly 25,000 miles around the earth, right?
Right.
So that would be 12 and a half.
Right.
And you're already.
I'm well past the halfway mark, and
right.
I'm happy about that. I'm kind of proud about that.
You were in the savings and loan business, and things changed, and we no longer have savings and loans. But you have an office here in town. You've got a grandson, though. Talk about him. I've wanted to have the two of you out here, but it just never has worked out. I've asked you a couple of times, but he's a family man and got children to take to school, I think, and different reasons, perhaps.
Well, yes, thank you, Coleman. Brenda and I are fortunate in that we have 3 grandchildren. Gloria, our only child, our daughter, has 3 children. William Griffith, the oldest of them, got his education in commercial real estate and started working for a few companies about that. And, I guess 7 or 8 or so years ago, we were, due to age, we were looking at what do we do now? Where do we go from here? Since we're, and William expressed a desire to come work for the family business, and so he did. And Gloria, his mother, is there, and they are running our Callus Ventures business today and doing a great job. And
Greenwood,
we're right there on 111 South, North Greenwood.
Yeah.
It gives me a place to go every day, get out of the house and leave Brenda alone for a few hours. And now William is a great guy. I have another grandson that I want to tell you about, Benjamin, who's a couple of years younger than William. Benjamin is a runner. He runs every day. I walk. He runs every day, not just 5 days a week, but every day. He has participated in several marathons around the country. He has taken part in 2 events, and I don't know what they're called, but they are 100-mile events where you go and you run 100 miles. And so Benjamin, I'm equally proud of him for that. He's an engineer by profession and education, but he's a runner. So I'm proud of him. And my other granddaughter, Sarah, lives in Hermitage and works for a marketing company. And so I have a wonderful family.
Well, you really do. That 100 miles
100 miles.
Time?
Well, it's done over 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
So as I understand it, you run 25 miles, and then there's a break. And then you run 25 miles. And the last time that he did that, I believe he told me that he got his 100 miles in slightly less than 24 hours. Mm. Now, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That's amazing, isn't it? That makes my 14,000-mile walk over 27 years seem insignificant.
Let's just talk a little bit about Kiwanis. I mean, I know you're always recruiting members. There are certain things that you've done. Kiwanis, of course, started Little League Baseball, and we do attribute a lot of that to George Harding and others that was back in the 50s. But that has all changed some, but you're still involved.
Yes. Kiwanis clubs all over the world primarily try to devote their efforts to the needs of children and youth in their local community, and that's what we do. As you said, we were the sponsors of the Lebanon Kiwanis Little League baseball program for many years, and all of that sort of got evolved into a merger with the Rotary Little League, and now the city of Lebanon has a sports program where they oversee all of these youth baseball, softball, and maybe some other sports as well.
Do you still work a concession stand?
No, and that's one of the things that I really miss about that is those nights. We would each of us members would have like 4 nights during the spring baseball season, to go to the concession stand and work. And I really enjoyed those. Those were times when we got to know our fellow Kiwanis members much better than we get to know them for an hour sitting, listening, eating lunch, and having a speaker. But we still have the Kiwanis Club. Our Kiwanis Club was formed in 1947. So we're
46, I believe.
Something like, well, you're older than I am. You would remember that. Something like that. But anyway, we're still there. We meet every Monday at lunchtime at the First United Methodist Church Fellowship Hall, which is where the two Rotary clubs, the Noon Rotary Club and the Breakfast Rotary Club, also meet there. And all of those organizations, and there are others that are working in the community to make our community a better place, and in particularly thinking about the needs of youth.
All right, we've got a minute and a half here to kind of wrap it up this morning. And again, you're here because you are promoting and reminding everybody about the day of prayer for our schools.
Yes, thank you, Coleman. And let me just say this. We've talked about the fact that we reach out to all the churches in the community, and we do, and we're pleased about that. But I would just say to everyone in the community, this Sunday has been determined to be a day of prayer for our schools day in our community. And so whether you're going to be at church or whether you're not going to be at church, I would ask you to pause for a minute during the day and remember that school starts next week. I believe in Wilson County next Friday, the students go to school for the first time. It's a new school year. Stop and pray for our schools, pray for our children, that they be safe as they start a new school year. And
our teachers and support personnel.
Absolutely. Everybody involved
everybody.
With the schools, so many people. And, we read the stories about things that happened in other communities all over the country, most recently in Nashville. And let's pray that doesn't happen ever in Wilson County.
Eddie, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate you, appreciate your idea and sharing it with those and with others. And that is it for a Wednesday. Till tomorrow, I wish you a wonderful day.